During my promotion celebration, my sister laughed. "You don't even deserve that raise. You've got it easy." Mom agreed. That money should help family instead. I didn't defend myself. I paid the bill, went home, and cut off every silent account they'd been living on. By morning, their cards were declined. And my sister's desperate message flashed on my screen. During my promotion celebration, my sister leaned back in her chair, smirking. "You don't even deserve that raise, James. You just got lucky." Mom didn't even blink. "That money should help family instead of sitting in some account." Dad laughed softly. "You think you're the only one who works hard?" I didn't respond. Just paid the bill and watched them clink their glasses, celebrating with my money. That night, I went home, logged into every shared account, and closed them one by one. By morning, their cards were declined. My phone buzzed. "Lydia." "James, what did you do?" I stared at the message, then turned off my phone. For the first time, silence felt like mine. Mom showed up that evening banging on my door. "Open this door right now." When I did, she didn't wait to step in. "You embarrassed us. Your sister's crying. You cut off your own blood?" "Blood?" I repeated. "You mean the people who used mine?" Her eyes widened. "We're your family." "Yeah," I said quietly. "That's the problem." She slapped the countertop hard. "You think money makes you better?" "No," I said. "It just made you comfortable." The words hung in the air like smoke. She froze, not out of guilt, but shock that I finally spoke. "My name is James Whitlock, 27, and I've learned something. When you grow up as the quiet one, people stop seeing you as real. They think you don't feel, don't notice, don't break. I noticed everything. How Mom called me the backup child when she thought I couldn't hear. How Dad's eyes always softened for Lydia, never for me. How every family emergency was really Lydia's bills, Lydia's vacations, Lydia's mistakes. And how every time I said, "It's fine," something inside me cracked a little more. 2 days later, they came together, like a small, angry army. Lydia pushed the door open first. "You've gone insane, James. We were depending on you." Mark stood behind her, pretending to be the reasonable one. "Man, it's just money," Mom's voice cut through. "You're punishing your sister for nothing." Dad followed last, his silence heavier than his words. They all stood in my living room, uninvited. I stayed seated. "You all done pretending I owe you?" Lydia scoffed. "You owe us everything. You think you got here on your own?" I met her eyes. "Who paid for your car, your tuition, your wedding?" Her jaw tightened. "Don't twist it," Mom shouted. "We helped each other." "No," I said calmly. "I helped you. You took, and called it love." The room went quiet. Even Dad's voice broke for a second. "You've changed, James." I smiled slightly. "No, I just stopped being quiet." That silence made everyone nervous. Lydia shifted. Mark exhaled sharply. Mom's tone softened, but her eyes stayed sharp. "You're still angry about the past. Let it go." I looked at her. "Which part should I let go? The time you used my college fund to fix Lydia's debt? Or the time you said I was lucky to exist when Dad called me a mistake?" Her lips trembled, but she said nothing. That night, I found an old box in my closet, filled with receipts, letters, and documents. I wasn't looking for proof. I was looking for peace. Instead, I found a name. Henry Whitlock, listed as a co-signer on my student loan. Not my father. At first, I thought it was a bank error. Then I checked my birth certificate. The copy I'd never really studied. No father's name. Just blank. I froze. My throat went dry. Mom's words from years ago flashed in my head. "You're lucky he took you in." Back then I thought she meant love. Now I knew she meant obligation. Flashback, age 12. I was outside fixing the old mailbox when I overheard Dad yelling, "I don't want that kid knowing. You think I want to explain that to him? To anyone?" Mom sobbed. "He's innocent." "He's not mine," Dad spat. The hammer slipped from my hand that day. I remember the sound. metal hitting concrete. That's the sound my childhood ended on. The next morning I went to their house. The same porch, the same door, same fake family photo on the wall. Dad opened the door like he'd been waiting for me. "Here to apologize?" he said. I walked past him. "Not today." Mom and Lydia were sitting at the table. The air smelled like coffee and tension. I dropped the folder in front of them, the documents, the truth, everything. "I know," I said. Lydia's face went pale. Mom started crying before even opening the file. Dad didn't move, just stared. "I know who I am," I said quietly, "and who I'm not." Dad finally spoke. "You think this changes anything? I raised you." I nodded. "Yeah, but not with love, with guilt." Lydia burst out crying. "Please, James, stop this! You're destroying what's left of us!" I turned to her slowly. "What's left? There was never an us, Lydia. There was you, and a family that made sure I never forgot I didn't belong." She shook her head, whispering, "You're cruel." I smiled faintly. "I learned from the best." Mom reached out, trembling. "James, we didn't mean to hurt you." "But you did," I said. "Every time you reminded me to be grateful, every time you took without asking. You built me out of silence and then punished me for not speaking." Days passed. Then a message came from Lydia again. "Dad's sick. Please come." I went, not for them, but to end it properly. Dad sat alone in the living room. No TV, no light, just him and the weight of everything unsaid. When he saw me, he didn't scold, didn't talk about money. He just whispered, "You hate me now." I sat down. "No, I don't have the energy to hate you." He looked at the floor. "I did what I thought was right. He left your mother pregnant. I stepped in." "Then why punish me for it?" I asked quietly. He didn't answer. His eyes were wet. "Because you reminded me of him." That was it, the confession that ended it all. When I left that night, I didn't cry. I just breathed, long and heavy. The stars looked different. Maybe they were always there, but I'd never looked up before. Mom called once after that. Lydia texted twice. I read the messages but never replied. Not out of spite, out of peace. Because sometimes walking away isn't revenge. It's finally choosing yourself. Now, when I look in the mirror, I see the quiet one still, but not the weak one. I see a man who survived being forgotten by the people who were supposed to remember him first. If you were me, would you forgive them, or finally let the silence speak for you? Tell me in the comments. Your voice matters here. And if you've ever been the quiet one in your family, like, share, and subscribe, because silence may hurt, but truth sets you free.